Hello there, and welcome to Thank the Maker, a podcast about heroes, princesses, scoundrels, hokey religions, ancient weapons, and all things Star Wars. I'm Adam Russell.
And I am Mike Forrester, and hold up. We've got a special guest here, Robbie Fox, host of My Mom's Basement of the Barstool Umbrella. Robbie, what's up, my dude?
Not much. I'm happy to be here. I'm very excited to talk about the subject at hand today. I'm obviously a huge fan of it, and I'm ready to get going.
Is there like a part of you that goes, because these three movies were unveiled at like this specific time of the year, where like now for me, December, cold weather, like I can't not think about going to see Star Wars in movies. And I know that we're trying to switch that up with Mando Grogu, but like, does this affect anybody else? Like, I feel like watching this movie when it's cold out in December is like a core memory at this point.
100%. Even like the Starfighter base, like the Starkiller base battle at the end, being in the snow, like lends itself to that. Like I remember leaving the theater and it was like kind of like snowy out, and you feel like you were just like getting off of that planet. And
I gotta get a lightsaber.
Yeah, like I completely agree. I almost wish that Star Wars stuck to the December releases. It was like a fun tradition we had for a few years.
Yeah, 100%. And we're all regionally affected by snow, at least.
Yeah.
You know, this was always the thing. Like Nick is like in Southern California, so it's like it's the same every day. Yeah, the excitement I think for doing this was like, we always get reminded. I think The Last Jedi was released today, 8 years ago, and then Force Awakens. Adam, remind me, or December 18th. So we're actually whenever
when this drops, it will be right on time.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's always fun to scroll down memory lane. Robbie, I know that you're a fan of specifically this movie for a lot of reasons.
Mike, I'm sorry. You just like had a Freudian slip that just like fully made you a millennial / Gen Z person. You just said scroll down memory lane. Like,
oh no, it's happening.
You got to stop
Take
working.
A stroll down memory lane. Yeah.
The feed. Stop working at a college, dude.
Oh, this is terrible. I gotta swipe right to figure out what time.
Let's swipe down memory lane.
Oh my gosh.
Jesus. Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
No, that's great. I'm glad you pointed that out for all of our listeners to point out. No, I think the excitement of going down memory lane in the sense of the hype for this culturally was unmatched. And I feel like at least I would love both of your perspectives on looking at the release of this in terms of the succession of knowing we hear that J.J. Abrams is going to be on board in already from his work that he had done with Star Trek. And Robbie, are you a Star Trek fan as well? Because I know Adam is.
I can't call myself a true like Trekkie. I've seen all the movies. I don't know if I've ever seen a full episode of the television shows, but I have seen all the movies and I do enjoy the movies.
So Adam, from your perspective as the resident Star Trek fan, what was your experience of then finding out that J.J. Abrams is going to do Star Wars, being that I thought when I watched Star Trek for the first time, the movies, I was like, man, I wish this was Star Wars.
Yeah, I had a really, really similar feeling and reaction, and it's unfortunate that I have to say that I have to kind of like I have to say a not positive thing about Star Wars, even though that's against policy for me, in order to express how stoked I was that J.J. Abrams was directing. Because one, I was a huge Lost fan, so I was on board.
Same.
Just from Lost. Same. And I remember being in the theater watching Star Trek 2009, and the opening sequence
with the rolling up to the Enterprise and all that.
I mean, like the first act entirely, like just moment after moment, I kept thinking to myself, God, this looks so much better than the prequels. And
it's fair though.
Yeah.
It's a fair comment.
Yeah. I mean, and like, you know, just visually and pacing wise, JJ just he's a very modern filmmaker, or at least he was at the time. For the time, he was like the dude that was doing things in a way that made him feel like he could be the next Spielberg. I mean, obviously that doesn't come to fruition per se, but like he's like Spielberg mini in a way, you know. Bad Robot has a little bit of Amblin vibes to it, you know. So I was
100%.
very, very stoked, and I remember thinking something, having a question that I want to ask Greg Grunberg next week if he had talked to JJ about it, whether or not there was any anxiety about one, the responsibility, two, the demystifying of Star Wars by being, you know, all of a sudden behind the camera instead of in front of the screen, and then the balance of that. So all of this was on my mind, but I was so stoked, and you know, you go back to Lost and you like see all the little nuggets that were in there about, you know, Hurley being a Star Wars fan and all that kind of stuff. You know, a lot of that's from Damon Lindelof and stuff, but still, it was known, so I was pumped.
I feel like at some point the same thing of, you know, if Michael Bay was explosions, J.J. Abrams was lens flares, and when Kirk rolls up on the Enterprise for the first time, I remember just being like, "What if this was a Star Destroyer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
What if it was the Falcon?" You know what I mean? And then the first time, like you see them, I apologize to any of our fans who are also Trekkies, but like I don't remember much of the movie, but I remember thinking Star Wars needs this, you know.
Yeah.
And at the time of being that the difference between watching that movie in 2009 versus kind of what you're saying in 2005, Revenge of the Sith, which was my last theatrical experience with Star Wars, but we had never gotten to see this emotional. It was interesting to kind of describe like an emotional part of knowing how Vader came to be, and then wanting to go back and start the original trilogy. But it was such a jarring visual experience because of the movie came out in 1977, right? And even the special editions weren't overly cleaned up or restored to a point where they weren't
They
supposed to look.
weren't modernized. You can't change the lighting. You can't I mean, a movie is what it is. You can only clean it up, quote, air quotes, so much. You can't, like, fully modernize it. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I hear you.
100%. So let's look at a couple dates here because we are going to revisit the teaser because I want to hear everyone's thoughts on this. And Adam, I know that you watched the teaser but not the trailer. You're going to have to explain this for the good folks at home. And so the first teaser dropped November 2014, late November 2014. I remember this. Who doesn't remember this at this point?
I
Yes,
remember it.
remember where you were when it dropped. Yeah.
Exactly.
Dude, what's wild is I don't know what movie I was in when I saw it because I didn't care.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure I went back and watched it in theaters again without watching the movie that it was playing before just to watch it again, you know?
It was worth the $9 admission.
Yeah.
We have this pulled up. Let's watch this.
Well, before we do this,
That's how
Robbie,
excited I am.
I want to give you context, and I've told this story many times on the podcast. It was in the very first episode. It's kind of the reason for this podcast existing. Ryan Key from Yellow Card and I had a no spoiler pact that we brought Ryan Mendez in on and Samir from Flyleaf. We decided we were going to try to experience this movie as if it was, you know, late 1979, early 1980, and we're waiting for The Empire Strikes Back to come out. And we have no access to the internet. There are very, very limited TV spots and things like that. If you're going to see a poster, it's going to be in person. There were no digital anything, you know, aside from a digital projection in a theater. So we made a pact, and we all held ourselves to it. So I only
Everyone
saw
stuck to it.
we all
Wow.
stuck to it. I unfortunately ended up seeing a lot of like promotional material because I was working in the mall at the time. I left the band for a few years and I worked at Apple, and there was a Disney store in the mall, like
Yeah.
100 feet away. So all the character shit was everywhere, and I worked at it was Apple, so it was a bunch of other nerds, and everybody's talking, you know, character names and all this shit, and I'm like, no, 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 no. And we were selling the BB-8 toys and all that kind of shit. So
Yeah.
it was hard, but I maintained, and I did not watch a single thing online. I only saw the poster in
Wow.
person,
That is
So,
some willpower right there. It's Jedi
It
like
is, yeah.
willpower.
dude, because
I was the complete opposite. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want spoilers. I never want to know leaks, but as long
Yeah.
as they're putting it out, I want to consume it. And that's
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
it was with this.
Yeah. And it wasn't quite as bad then as it is now with trailers in terms of like just dumping the whole story almost in a series of
Yeah.
trailers. So it would have been fine, but still it was a really, really rad experience to go in and just do it old school, like both with the trailer and the film. So
That's awesome.
Was there anything in the movie? I know we're going to get into it that was like super jarring because of that, though, where you were like, wait, what the hell is that?
You had no idea about Snoke, like what he looked like. I think
no
most of
idea.
us did.
Yeah. I didn't.
Wow.
I knew the name Kylo Ren
Sure.
because a coworker said it. And aside from that, it was like, you know, the classic characters. Even Rey, when she said, "I'm Rey," she said with her accent and the way she delivered it, I heard "I'm Rey." Like,
Oh, gotcha.
Also a Star Wars
right.
name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
you know? So there were some things like that, but most of it, again, we'll get into it, was just trying like nail biting, like, oh my God, is he doing it right? Is he nail is you know, the anxiety of whether or not it was working. You know what I mean? And it worked, man.
It works.
It's my favorite Star Wars movie of all time. So
Yeah, that's true. All right, well, cue this thing up. We got to watch this because this just brings me back. I'm excited thinking about it. So we immediately all think
there has been an awakening.
It's Tatooine.
Yep.
Right.
Have you felt it?
Who is this? Is this Golem? I'm immediately geeking out over this.
An R2D2 ball.
New Star Trek is badass. Hyped on that.
The dark side. And the light.
I'm getting like a The hype is real.
dude,
Okay, so immediate.
this shit makes me tear up right now.
100%, dude. Okay, so immediate
Oh, it's so
thoughts.
good.
It came out 11 years ago. Immediate thoughts, gentlemen.
So I remember the opening scene, people nitpicking and being like, that it looked like a fan film, like Finn popping up.
Yeah.
And then I feel like everyone, by the time Kylo walked out and had the broadside saber, people, I remember debating that you would slice your wrist off. That wouldn't work. Be practically. We can't wait to see how this happens. For our podcast, My Mom's Basement, we use a phrase bumped up. And that gets me bumped up. I got the goosebumps on the arm right now from that. It's the score, it's the narration, which Andy Serkis just crushes there. And then, of course, it's like you said, it's seeing the Millennium Falcon being like, oh my God, we're going to see the Millennium Falcon on the big screen in this movie. And it's a new story. We're not rewatching the original trilogy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Adam, what was your when you watched this, like how many, I mean, a million thoughts, but what do you remember from seeing it for the first time?
I remember every moment of it. I mean, it's rolling again right here. Like the idea of a stormtrooper popping up with no helmet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
and he's not a clone. He doesn't look like Tamora Morrison. So we have already a hint of like, okay, where are they going with this?
Yeah.
This is new. This is new. This is new. And it to me, it was like a perfect marriage. Like I think the entire film is of classic Star Wars, what we all expect, and that modern filmmaking aesthetic and energy of J.J. Abrams. And the shot in the transport with the lights flickering in and out feels so J.J. Abrams.
100%.
These X-wings flying across, just above the water, have the like the momentum of the trench run, but with something very new, with this organic element of the water and all this kind of shit. And yeah, like you said, when you see the Falcon and the way it moves through the frame in such a fresh way, but it feels exactly like it should, and especially with the music hitting,
Yeah.
dude, I like
I
there
know.
aren't enough good things to say.
I'm rewatching this again tonight. I think what's interesting to hear, Robbie, you talk about I remember the amount of critique over the lightsaber, Kylo's lightsaber. And this was like a chance where like I was not as heavy into the fandom, the intranet of the fandom, let's put it that way. As someone who was like, I was in, college, I was really into snowboarding like that. I was consumed by a whole different part of like my life at that point. And this trailer brought me back on to be like, I forgot how much I loved all of this because like, a divisive fandom was very loud after the prequels and there wasn't a lot of Star Wars in between that. And I remember thinking that there was something different about, about when Disney bought Star Wars. And also specifically, this is when Marvel really started to shine because we had in 2009, we had Iron Man. And so then it was kind of like all of your favorite things from when you're a kid are now being brought back. And so Star Wars, in some ways, the hype was real, but like there was much more to be distracted about. That lightsaber comes out. And I remember going, man, there's a lot of people trying to science Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is a good thing because like the first time you hear sound in space of the Star Destroyer trying to get the the Republic Corvette, I was like, this isn't the movie for you guys. Science guys, right? And we have
Harrison
like
Ford said it best. It ain't that kind of movie. Kid.
It ain't that kind of movie, kid. And so like I think like that was the first thing where I was like, oh man, this is gonna be exhausting in some ways. But like the excitement of seeing the Falcon fly the way that I flew it with my micro machines and my Power of the Force action figures of like flipping it upside down, like flying through my hallways. You know what I mean? Like all of those things, this nailed it. Adam, I'm with you on this at how it felt like the trench run, but it was completely modernized in a way that my brain was expecting to see it.
Yeah.
The excitement from here goes then into the full trailer, which comes out in October. And this is so this is October 19, 2015 is when the full trailer comes out. This is where we start to understand more of the character names. This ends with, we don't have it pulled up here because we have a couple other moments, but like this ends with Chewie, we're home.
Yeah.
Even you saying it in a Harrison impression bumped up.
We're getting those bumps, baby. But the excitement of that, like when we think back on that, because like I don't even need to rewatch it. I can almost remember it shot for shot. But what was the, like to take something like the teaser, full excitement, and then to see that part of it.
Dude. Was this teaser even shown in theaters? I may have seen the full trailer first.
The teaser might not have been. The full trailer definitely was.
Because all of these shots are in the full trailer, but
yeah.
Was the teaser the Monday Night Football thing, or was the full trailer debuted on Monday Night Football? I think.
Oh, that could have been it. That
one of them did that.
It was like because YouTube or like a TV spot with immediate YouTube availability or some shit, right?
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
But I remember they were bringing stormtroopers out onto the field because like the way that they were partnering up was it was like a Novos actually was pre-leaking some of the stormtrooper kits for people to actually buy so that they could build them, wear them, and bring them out to help with the promotional material. And our buddy Justin Sonfield was one of them, and like the excitement for seeing those costumes, and then also a lot of people being like, man, these are really uncomfortable. It's like a difference of like how like we learned so much about how these modern techniques were being built to use in here, which I think is a behind the scenes guy. I'm like fascinated by this. But yeah, so then of course 2015, after Avengers and all these things are happening, the pre-order tickets about announcing like I'm in a small community generally, even when at this time I was up here in northern Michigan, so we don't have AMC or Fandango or any of those things, but I imagine both of you guys had to go through the experience of trying to track down tickets for this thing, which was like going to see the Oasis, Robbie, you just experienced this.
Yeah.
What was that like to get tickets for that?
For me, it was like, it was so funny. I remember I bought the tickets and then I was able to go to the AMC. I worked at an On the Border, the Mexican restaurant at the time.
Oh yeah, sure.
So I was able to just walk across the mall parking lot, go to the AMC, and I printed out the tickets in like October, like I think when this trailer dropped. And for months, I was just looking at, I had like 5 tickets for my family and
Must
my
stay
friends.
alive.
Yeah, just literally with the Must Stay Alive. Because for me, this was kind of like my trilogy. I was born in 98. So I really got to experience the tail end of the prequels. I think I saw Attack of the Clones in theaters. I don't really have much of a memory about it. I loved Revenge of the Sith, but I was 6. So this was like, I was re-experiencing my childhood as a 17-year-old and getting to like follow along with the hype, follow along with what the internet was talking about, go to Walmart on Force Friday and buy myself a Millennium Falcon drone or whatever. Like this very much felt like, oh my God, I finally have a Star Wars to get excited about. So for me, like the full trailer, I remember dropped while I was at school. And thank God my teacher, Mr. Kilgore, shout out, he's my favorite, had like a Star Wars bird on one peck, a Star Wars bird on the other. He was like tatted up, loved the war. So he was like, hey, as soon as this class ends, we got something to watch on the smart board. And he put it up on the friggin' smart board and we had it go and we were bumped up together. So yeah, the excitement was all-time high for me in terms of like movies. Endgame, maybe Infinity War, the only thing I could compare to that because I am a Marvel fan. But Star Wars is so much above Marvel for me in terms of fandoms. So I just can't imagine another like time in my life where maybe I would get to experience what I experienced before The Force Awakens.
Yeah, dude. A couple things. One, to answer the thing about the tickets, I remember it was like all hands on deck, just trying to get whatever we could get. You know, my wife and I went together. I went with friends from work as well. Saw it 3 times within the first 24 hours.
Same.
Because like that's how I started doing it with the prequels, you know, because I was about your age when I was 19 when Phantom Menace came out. So like similar vibes. And by the time episode 3 came out, it was like I'm gonna see this thing half a dozen times in theaters.
Yeah.
Or it's gonna happen or I'm gonna die trying, you know what I mean? So you carried on that same tradition, saw it 3 times on opening day, and like it was like whatever tickets, wherever, whatever time were available. It was just like buying concert tickets, just like you said. And I've also been collecting ticket stubs since 1999.
Wow.
Like I maybe missed a couple in 99, maybe early 2000, but like I have a full binder of every movie I've seen in theaters for 25 years, almost 26 years. So yeah, having them in hand, it was like the most anxiety ever. Like, dude, if I lose this, something happens, like I'm gonna lose my shit.
And they were in hand, but at this point, at least for me, it wasn't assigned seating in AMC yet.
Right.
So I was still like, I got them, but I got to show up early. And I wound up showing up so early that there's like a picture of me here. I don't know if you can see that. Star Wars Force Awakens hits New Jersey in full force. And I was one of the first people in line because I was like, you know, that afternoon, I have to be there and I have to make sure we get the good view. I can't be in the front row looking up like that, crooked neck for Star Wars going back. So yeah, it was ultimate.
Dude, okay. So speaking of that, I forgot about the line thing till you said. I went in with headphones, like, you know, over-ear headphones, and my poor wife sat there while I played music the whole time, because if someone was gonna walk out of a theater and say something that spoiled it, I was gonna lose my mind. I heard something about that, the dude who came out, and I don't remember where this was, but
some viral thing of him being
it was like, "Well, Han died," and a dude got up and beat the shit out of him.
Respect. Honestly,
rightfully.
Respect.
Yeah, so I wasn't trying to have that happen.
Yeah. Well, I think as the movie comes on, so the excitement is there. We go to see it. The retrospectively, like I hosted an art show that had like a rotating theme at the time. That was kind of my contribution to the little town that I live in. And we did a Star Wars art show. And so the theater was like really grateful that we were, you know, promoting people to get excited about it. So they let us in early. So we got to be able to pick our seats early.
Nice.
But we didn't get to see it early. Occasionally we'll get to go see movies like on Tuesday when they do the employee screening, which is basically just to make sure that the file works. So they're like, we can get you in as a thanks, and you get in this, like, to your point, Robbie, like the VIP seating, which is right in the middle, perfect view. So we sit down, and my friend who comes with us, she's not a big Star Wars fan, but she's like, I mean, okay, like, what's, is Star Wars scary? And I'm like, no, it's you're gonna love it. Kylo Ren gets off the silencer, the shuttle. He's terrifying.
Yeah.
Like,
The
straight
music is
up
terrifying.
dude, everything about it is scary. And like, Laura Zanteca is there, and he, like, you just feel immediately like how heavy this is already. Very modern, very like, and we've got this little clip right here of when he looks awesome with the hood. The stormtroopers are there. It immediately gets so much more violent than I was expecting in terms of like seeing blood. I know that the last time that we'd really like seen blood, at least in my recollection, of course, it's like a little bit when Luke gets beat up in the Wampa cave. And then of course the arm gets cut off in A New Hope. But like the blood swipe of the palm on the helmet of FN 2187, I was like, yo,
Yeah.
this is intense. And then the fact that they just massacre everybody in the Santeca village, and then Kylo stops the blaster bolt. I was like, this is beyond badass. And we're 6 minutes into the movie. Like,
Yeah.
what
The blaster bolt got a visceral reaction in the theater. I saw it twice on opening night. Both times people went, oh, like people were like, they didn't know what to do with themselves when they saw that blaster get frozen. We've never seen the Force used like that.
100%. Just an absolute, like, watching it. And it's very JJ Abrams. It's like struggling to hold there. It's got like this beautiful blue glow to it. And from there, you're kind of already setting up exactly who Kylo Ren is. He's merciless. He has, such a dark way of presenting himself. Like, from your perspective, the immediate Kylo Ren reaction is what?
Blown away, in love. Even just the crawl, like even finding out Luke Skywalker is vanished. Is what do you mean he's vanished? Why has he vanished? I want to know everything about that. And then even just like the little tidbits we had about Kylo Ren going in, where like we had the rumors of like some kind of Sith like artifact collector of some sort. So it was, again, like, is he going to go through and try to find throne room stuff? Is he going to try to find things? We knew he had, or at least we saw the burnt helmet of Darth Vader in the full trailer. So yeah, it was just complete. But as Adam said, until we get to Takodana in the theater, I'm kind of like, all right, this is working, right? Like, we're good, right? Like, there's no turbulence, right? Like, the plane has taken off. We're okay. And as soon as his ship comes down on Takodana, I was like, we're in this right now. Like, I'm so bought. I don't even need to worry anymore. I'm just entertained.
Robbie, it is like, I can't tell you how absolutely delightful and heartening it is to see you as a kid who's like who saw the prequels as a kid, in the same way that we saw the original trilogy as kids, almost the same like interval. And to see you this stoked on the sequel trilogy is like the best thing ever, because
I love it. I love it.
The OT fans were assholes about the prequels. The prequel fans were assholes about the sequels, and it's just like it's just all too common, and it's a bum out because it's all awesome. It's like,
of course it is. I would rather watch the worst Star Wars movie than the best of most other franchises.
Yeah, dude, even the TV stuff, like, everybody complains about it. No one can be happy ever. Like, the quality of TV in the Disney era of Star Wars is through the fucking roof compared to the vast majority of other sci-fi and fantasy shit out there. It's just undeniable, dude. So, I'll probably tell you this repeatedly, how stoked I am that you love these movies that much, because
love them.
I remember when Han and Chewie first showed up, I was like biting my nails like, okay, is he gonna do Han the right way? Is Chewie gonna be walking the right way? Like all of it, I was like, oh God, are they doing it? They're doing it. Oh God, it's great. Oh shit. Oh my God. Like, and it just like all the tension released, and it's just like I was just fully on the ride,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So as things go on, I think one of the biggest noticeable changes, of course, because you have like this is just my design brain thinking, is like you have these two variants between going. The stormtroopers look radically different, and then even from the teaser trailer, immediately you're like, that's an X-wing, no question about that. You see TIE fighters flying by, and for people who are super geeks, are like, are the TIE fighters gray or are they blue? And you're like, they're actually neither. They're black with like white, paraffins or whatever on the inside. And they have this, the first order, that's the signifier. And I think, Robbie, to your point, you brought it up earlier about like when toys actually served almost as like a little bit of a teaser and was supposed to be part of the marketing opportunity. Mando Grogu, to keep Adam completely out of the loop, even though I did post it and I regretfully was like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. The toys are indicators of like what's to come. And in some ways, it's funny because you have the legendary Black Series Constable Zuvio, which is a character that was cut from the movie,
everywhere.
but everyone had that character, right?
I had it. I still do somewhere. It's in storage right now. Yeah,
100%. But like, you look at how quickly we were able to, you have people who are like, okay, so the stormtroopers look way different, but the ships are all familiar. And when people go to be critical about it, there's a part of me that's like, okay, we went from a model T65 in the OT to a T70 with actual Ralph McQuarrie style thrusters, which I know don't totally make sense from a science standpoint, right? But again, it ain't that kind of movie. So we have these ships, and I think when we're looking at the difference of these things, it still feels so familiar to me, and I love how the design language of this entire sequel trilogy feels like it evolved just the right amount. Because I think for people who are aviation nuts, and Adam and I, we always geek out over planes, and Jason, and I think it's just like a male part of our lizard brains. The F-22, which is arguably the most advanced warfighter we've ever had up until the F-35 for all you aviation geeks out there, right? And someone's going to debate this. Has been around for like 30 to 40 to even some of these ships. We still have airworthy ships from World War II. Tom Cruise was literally flying one around.
Dude, the F-16 just got retired. That thing has existed
since the 70s.
Yeah.
So when people like are, when we're critical about stuff like this, I'm like, this is an argument you have to give up. It's just one that I just do not
and
understand.
Those are the nitpicks. Like, I know we're talking about Force Awakens today, but when people talk about you can't drop bombs in space for The Last Jedi after they show you that bombs it's just like, it ain't that kind of movie. How many times do we have to say it? It's not 100%. A science movie. It's science fiction.
100%.
Not to mention, if you want to find something to complain about in any movie, TV, any kind of entertainment, you will find it. Like it's about like expectations, bias, and ultimately what you want to get out of something. Yeah, that's what it comes down to. Like, because I, as like a hard sci-fi fan as well, and like a kid who grew up very much into science, and I'm very much into science as an adult, I feel like I have a pretty scientific worldview in general. I have on this podcast multiple times come with like the from a certain point of view kind of like steel man approach rather than the straw man kind of thing to try to make this work. Like, we're talking about
bring the receipts.
Yeah, we're talking about a universe that may or may not be the same one that we live in, depending on how you want to think about it. Let's imagine it's not. All the rules don't have to be the same, man. Like, let's give the creators a benefit of the doubt. One, that they did some homework and they really thought about this shit a lot harder than we think they did. And two, it's fantasy, man.
Yeah, it really is.
Anyone who can watch a movie that has legit magic in it, if you can watch Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings and not complain about the logic of the film, you should also shut up about this.
Well, it's like the same thing of being like, I can't watch Game of Thrones. they'd be like, why? And they'd be like, well, because Castle Black doesn't have enough sheep to have a full size dragon eat that much. I just don't
Yes.
believe it. You're like, is this where we're really? This is what we're holding up right now. But I think in terms of looking at the moments of this movie, one of the biggest things that I loved about it was I posted about it the other day. I'm like, the arrival of the Resistance
Yeah.
on Takodana, right? Dun, 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 dun. Like everything about the excitement of this, of, you know, we just had this great faux cantina scene with Maz. And of course we get that's a story for another time, which we can talk about at a different point. But like when you see that big fuzz of water and you're like, what is this? And they show up in formation. We're watching it here for people. Like the hype of this, including Poe's like stray front, of course, which he has a black X-Wing, which is black and orange, beyond badass. Why wouldn't Poe Dameron have a super special TIE fighter? X-Wing. Watching them do what George, I'm sure, imagined his original X-Wings doing in 1977, that they still pulled off, because like I feel like, and we've talked about this, the World War II inspiration of following how they were putting the cameras on the planes and they were following them around, compared with in contrast to what we saw in the prequels, which almost seemed like they didn't have as much weight, they didn't have as much physics. And I think this is where JJ really shined, of balancing the physics of it all with feeling like it's visceral, like almost like you're watching water hit the screen as they come off the lake of Takodana. And all of this just felt a little bit different than the prequels.
More kinetic.
It is truly, that's a great way to describe it. But like even just the stormtroopers getting absolutely housed by
they get sent back. That and the bowcaster they handle so well in this movie, where you get hit with a bowcaster. See ya on another football field, brother.
100%. So I love this scene. I love the score. This is what I told those guys earlier. I'm like, man, if you can sing the scores, that is when, you know, not that John Williams wasn't going to give us something amazing, but like the fact that I can at least hum.
I hear it in my head watching it on mute, you know?
Exactly. And I think the fact that like we have this integration at Galaxy's Edge just makes you like reconnects with all those amazing moments that you felt about how excited you were to watch. Like I'm watching it right now being like, let's just sit down and do a watch party. I'm geeked.
Yeah, that's one hell of a pilot. I want to see
exactly. As he's got his jacket on. So I love this scene. I mean, what other moments in this for you, from both of your perspectives, like going through and chewing up some of these scenes?
Man, even the traitor scene that happens like right in this, you know, zone, when Finn turns that lightsaber on the first time, you almost felt it in the theater.
Yeah.
They do such a good job with like the sound editing and the sound mixing in this movie, where all of those moments are like, whoa. Even the Rey flashback when she touches the saber for the first time. Quickly we get some stuff from the past. We hear the voice of Ewan McGregor, Alec Guinness going back and forth on, you know, whatever that was in theater, when the moment you're like, I'm gonna have to decipher that later. Seeing her walk down the hallway that we saw in Empire, like everything about that. And I didn't mind. I really still to this day don't mind how reminiscent and how much it parallels A New Hope. I think that was the way that JJ was able to do if you want to call this a soft reboot, I think it's like the greatest soft reboot of all time in terms of introducing that to a new generation. And like, yes, you repeat a lot of the story beats. I think it was different enough to be its own thing, but you kind of needed to repeat a lot of those story beats if you wanted to introduce what Star Wars is to a new generation. It's a story about hope. It's about, you know, the camaraderie you can find among a gang of crazy misfits, outcasts. And I think they nail all of that. And again, I think they do make it different enough where it's not just a remake.
Yeah, dude. I know, we all know, anyone who paid enough attention knows that this was all calculated and purposeful. JJ said, I mean, straightforward, this is going to open in a desert and it's going to close with blowing up something big, you know?
Yeah.
To do exactly what you talked about. You wrote this with Lawrence Kasdan, which is, you know, he's one of the greatest living screenwriters. Wrote two of the most important Star Wars anythings ever.
Correct.
And I think anyone who takes issue with the screenwriting, again, had already entered this era with some bias and was
Yeah.
ready to be disappointed. Almost wanted to be disappointed, it seems like, because ultimately, like, there's nothing new about Star Wars.
Mhm.
It's the only thing new about Star Wars was the combination, the way Lucas remixed things that had come before using classic archetypes, the hero's journey, using old Hollywood style scores, and putting this kind of story in space.
Yeah.
That mix was the new thing. None of the elements were new. So to do it again for a new generation makes perfect sense to me. And I can't imagine any larger percentage of the fan base would have been happier if it had been completely new and fresh in a way that challenged all of the old ideas. Even though that's what everyone asks for. I think it's an example of, like, fans not really knowing what they want, thinking, being absolutely sure in their mind that they know what they want, but they don't really know. And it's kind of like, fans want to hear they're like, I wish this band would just, just if they just made this album again, just did the same shit, it would be great. You think that, but if
And
you
you
really
listen to it, yeah, and you're like,
it's boring, you have to, like, take the old thing and update it. And I'm saying this from direct experience. Like,
yeah,
our last album is our first album updated in so many ways, We didn't go back and do the exact same thing. We took all the stuff that worked and updated it, and that's why people love it nearly as much as the original. That's the only reason that we have an album that, like, where, half the songs in our Spotify top 10 or whatever are from the new album, So,
yeah.
like, this is that. And,
But
again,
it's a great way to reintroduce an audience, because as like
Yeah.
the punk emo thing is like coming back, or like in instance, like my daughter is super into the Haley Williams new album, her
Mhm.
solo,
Yeah.
right? And I was like, well, do you want to listen to Paramore? She's like, no, I want to listen to Haley Williams. And I was like, kid, have I got news for you? This is going to be real exciting for you. But I think, like, as she grows up, and, like, she, I'm going to say, oh, this is dad's friend. He plays in this band. Like, the introduction of going, here's other stuff, because, like, as a musician, when you're, departing for purposeful reasons to keep the creativity alive, there's definitely albums that, like, sometimes you have to go back to what, for a lot of people, for me, in design, right? Like, punk rock is my easiest way to, like, remember how shapes and things work. It's why Mosh Isley looks the way that it does. And I think from a lot of perspectives, reintroducing something this big is also difficult, because it's everything is a world after Star Wars already came out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because even George Lucas struggled with this. This is why nobody wanted to direct Phantom Menace. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Spielberg's like,
Even almost Return of the Jedi. You got a bunch of people turning them down for Jedi.
Yeah.
Like, even at that point, it was like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know how we
Stakes are
could
too high.
navigate this.
and he knew it after Star Wars. He's like, I don't know how many people he reached out to say we're going to do it, that he had to have his teacher do it. His
Yeah.
film professor at USC. He's like, hey, can you help me with this thing? It's a great class project, Empire Strikes Back. But, like, I think to that point, looking at reintroducing something, this was such a, I have a lot of, envy for that time of the excitement of people being able to say, holy cow, I can't believe I get to work on Star Wars. And then I have complete anxiety thinking about what that felt like, because between some of the guys who have been able to work on it now, and we know so much more about the people who worked on these movies. It was largely UK production. The hype was real, and to your point, we are lugging around a 40-year franchise at this point of one of the most beloved, creative, alliterative, science fiction. What I mean, I don't know. Like I said,
True
there's only
modern mythology that unmatched
honestly,
by
and
any
there's only a world after Star Wars.
Yeah.
Mhm.
From that perspective. So I think looking back on this with it, I feel the same way, Adam. Looking back on this with a lot of excitement and watching these clips, I'm like, I freaking love this movie.
This and Empire, like easily my most rewatched Star Wars movies as well.
Yeah.
Empire for the
Yeah.
obvious reasons. It's my favorite. It's most people's favorite, I think. And it's just a classic. You're doing something, throw an Empire in the background. I've seen it 1,000 times, but I love it. Force Awakens, I would put on and sit down in front of the TV, put the phone down. When it came out on Blu-ray, I watched it 100 times that year. I tell that to Conja Club. I know every quote from it. Like it is such an amazingly paced and edited movie too, where it just moves and moves and moves. There's no boring scenes. I know some people don't love the Rathtars. I do love the Rathtars. I think it's like such a great Han moment where you get to see Harrison Ford get to, he has a glimmer in his eye again. There was
100%.
a stretch before Force Awakens where people were kind of like, Harrison Ford just phones it in now, right? And then the Force Awakens came out, and then Blade Runner followed, and then Shrinking followed that. And people, I feel like this kind of kickstarted the second half of his career in a way.
Yeah.
Completely agree. Completely agree on that.
I don't want to get ahead of ourselves because I think we do need to do a segment we called "I Love You, I Know," is where we pick our favorites. But man, the scene in the Falcon when he tells Rey about the Force and shit, like, dude,
Heavy.
like,
where's the bumper, Adam? Hit the bumper.
We're gonna get straight into it because I'm becoming painfully aware of your time here. Let's roll it.
I love you.
I know.
Robbie, you go first. Tell us your favorite. We can do favorite quote, favorite scene, favorite moment, sequence, whatever, or one of each, whatever you want to do.
Okay. So favorite in a joking way, tell that to Conja Club might be the most like reset line for me. And I just love the way he says that line. I get chills thinking about I get chills thinking about this will begin to make things right. I remember like grabbing my friend's hand and being like, this is gonna, they're talking to us right now. They're talking through the screen right now. The scene that you referenced, Han saying all of it, it's true. All of it almost feels like he's like confirming that like we really did that, like Star Wars, like it feels like a very meta line as well. That's great. But for me, the scene that every single time I watch this movie will give me goosebumps to the 10th degree is that lightsaber flying past Kylo Ren on Starkiller Base into the hands of Rey. The score just building up to that beautiful crescendo as she ignites the lightsaber. And then we get an amazing lightsaber battle to follow that I think is the perfect mix of like the emotional side of the original trilogy and also the really awesome choreography of the prequels. And they mix that so well. But that moment where the lightsaber goes into her hand and she ignites it, for me, that's my favorite.
It's like the most powerful, purest magic that only Star Wars can give us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So good.
I'm gonna say for my favorite, the moment that I remember being like, I cannot believe I'm watching this, was actually the escape of Jakku. When Rey is firing up the Falcon, the garbage will do.
The loudest cheer I've ever heard in a theater.
I mean, the Falcon is a character. We all know that. And like the fact that the canvas, the tarp flies off it and reveals it was like to your point, the cheers, people were so geeked. And when they got inside of it and it was like exactly aged and beat up even more than it already was, knowing Han, how Han treated it and all that, like the excitement of watching it fly through the remnants of this old Star Destroyer in this junkyard, everything about it was like, I was like, I can die happy now knowing that like the Falcon flew the way that I remember it in my mind.
Right.
Yeah.
And different than how the technological capabilities of where it was at the time when they had the original filming model and all those things. That was my moment knowing like, dude, give me as much Star Wars as I can handle until I'm dead at 90. Like I'm in. You know what I mean?
All the geeks pointing to the new satellite. They got a new dish. Different
I'm like,
shape.
oh, I'm sorry. Did you miss the Falcon flying upside down and blasting the TIE fighter? Yeah, okay. Did you miss it when it arrived on Crate and saved the like? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, the dish by all means.
Um, yeah, but before I talk about my favorite, I will kind of echo what you said, Mike. And I feel like we talked about this on the first episode Ryan and I did, that this entire movie is and like presents as what Star Wars feels like nostalgically. It's it's not a copy of what it was. It's like a recreation, like a manifestation of what Star Wars feels like in our minds. Because
Mhm.
there's lots of stuff about those original movies, whether it's like the special effects, like just the compositing, or like the limitations of the motion control, or the way a lightsaber looks or feels or whatever.
Real
That
reflections for the first time, right? We
Yeah,
never
like
had
Yep.
reflections.
Lighting,
Beautiful in the
yeah.
moment. Yeah, in
yeah.
Starkiller Base.
None of those limitations are part of our nostalgic, our emotional memory of Star Wars. You know what I mean? All of those flaws kind of disappear into this like romanticized um, memory that we have. So this movie just like makes it all real, I guess, in
Yeah.
so many ways. Um,
Even
and
just seeing it down Star Destroyers, Mike said. Seeing it
yeah,
down Star Destroyers, like that made it real. It made the original
yeah,
trilogy. That happened. It gave us those feelings again.
yeah,
She's sitting in the shards of a down Star Destroyer with an OT Rebel pilot helmet.
yeah.
I'm in. I'm in. I'm
So
in.
cool.
All right, Adam, what
Even
was
the
your
way her
moment?
little food thing blows up.
Oh,
Be
yeah,
awesome.
the
It's a
puffer
little
bread.
muffin. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I want that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
I got 1/4 portion right here.
Yeah.
1/4 portion. What a line. I'm just gonna play mine so we can all cry about it, and then we'll just talk about it.
This map's not complete. It's just a piece. Ever since Luke disappeared, people have been looking for him.
Why did he leave?
He was training a new generation of Jedi. One boy, an apprentice, turned against him and destroyed it all. Luke felt responsible. He just walked away from everything.
Do you know what happened to him?
A lot of rumors, stories. People who knew him best think he went looking for the first Jedi temple.
The Jedi were real.
I used to wonder about that myself. Thought it was a bunch of mumbo-jumbo. A magical power holding together good and evil, the dark side and the light. Crazy thing is, it's true. The Force, the Jedi. All of it. It's all true.
That, like I talked about in the first episode, one, it's like it's kind of an easy cheat code, right? To get at our hearts. You know, Han Solo talking about in a very meta way, like you said, it's all true, right? If it's real to you, it's real. But also, like on a character level, Han Solo, the cynic, I've been from one side of the galaxy to the other. I've never seen anything about the Force, blah blah blah. For him to come all the way around and 30, 40 years later, whatever, not only be able to like admit it to himself, but say it to someone else, to a younger
Yeah.
person, and like open the door for them it's hard to overstate how big of a deal that is
Right.
for a character. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
says so much. It tells like his whole backstory, his whole emotional backstory from Return of the Jedi to now with that series of lines.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to explain about, this happened to me and then this. Here's what happened with my kid and that's why I think this now and yada yada yada. Just those lines, like, man, it does so much heavy lifting, and it's like like a full blown like ugly cry moment for me on
Yeah.
an emotional level, because it is like I said before, a modern mythology. To me, it's kind of like my religion. I think we all feel that way to one degree or another.
Yep. Yep.
Mhm.
And if there's anything that can like bind us together as people, despite all the bullshit in the world, it's something like this.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Very
That
well
is
said.
That is a philosophical approach to Star Wars. Not that a podcast about Star Wars going on for 5 years would know anything about that. This just makes me want to go watch the movie. I'm sure
Same.
we're all going to rewatch it this weekend at some point. And the excitement, of course, is we're heading into the holiday season. We have Greg Grumberg on next week, which is really fun. And he was Snap Wexley, the A-Wing pilot in the sequel trilogy, which we're super excited to talk. If you were a fan of Alias, which I was as a kid, like that's cool to have him on. He was in Heroes, he was in all these things. So we're excited to have Greg on. Robbie, thanks for your time, dude. Thanks for hanging with us, man.
Dude, this was an absolute blast. Thank you guys for having me.
I assume anytime I'm like, hey, you want to talk Star Wars, you're like moving everything aside. I'm here.
Anytime.
Anytime,
Mike. Yes.
Oh, I love that, dude. I love that. All right, Adam, I think you guys got to yuck it up in the post show and get back to we got to get back to our normal lives of preparing for Mandalorian and Grogu in theaters in May, which is frankly what I'm also excited
fast
about.
approaching as well. It's going to be before we know it. It's going to be May.
100%.
Yeah, Robbie, if you could stick around for a few more minutes for a little post show thing for patrons, that'd be amazing.
Totally.
Thanks again for being here, dude. For anyone who doesn't know where to find you on socials or on your podcast, can you fill them in real quick?
Yeah, so on Instagram, that Robbie Fox. On Twitter, I am Robbie Barstool, spelled Robbie with an IE, not a Y. And there you go. And Pop Punk is our like parody type pop punk cover band we have at Barstool. We do shows. We're trying to put out more stuff, so look out for that.
Hell yeah.
All right, everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next week, may the Force be with you. Thank the Maker is produced by Adam Russell and Jason Chiodo and edited by Jason Chiodo. If you enjoy the podcast, you can support us by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Or you can support us directly at patreon.com/thankthemakerpod, where you can get access to our Discord server, exclusive content, exclusive merch, and more. Our patrons literally make Thank the Maker possible.